thank you so much for your time. سوال من این هست که میخوایم پرسان بکنم در ارتباط به حملاتی که فعلا طالبان در ولسوالیای افغانستان انجام میدن و کارهایی که اینا انجام میدن وارد خانه های افغان میشن. آیا از نظر شما این گروه کارهایشان چگونه است؟ غیر انسانی هست یا گروه تروریستی هستند طالبان؟ آیا اینا شما میپذیرین؟ و دیگه این که در این اواخر آیا اجساد پاکستانی را شما کشور پاکستان دریافت کردن از افغانستان تسلیم شده باشند؟ نظرتون در این ارتباط چی هست؟ و با چنین شرایط نتیجه روند صلح در افغانستان شما چگونه میبینین من حیث یک کشور خیلی نزدیک بر افغانستان؟ تشکر.
First, what the Taliban are doing or not doing is nothing to do with us. You know, you have to speak to Taliban about what they're doing. We're not responsible. Neither are we some spokespersons for Taliban. But you have two choices. 20 years, a military solution has been attempted to bring peace to Afghanistan, and that's failed. Now you have a choice. Either this American-backed military solution, you can continue, because if you feel the Taliban are not someone you want to have in part of your government, you can keep on the course of a military solution. But everyone knows it's not possible anymore. The second solution is to have a government, a political compromise between the Taliban and the government, to have a compromise, an inclusive government. That is the only solution. Now, what the Taliban are doing or not doing has nothing to do with us. All we want is that there should be peace in Afghanistan. Pakistan's interest is peace there. There are 3 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan. Almost all of them are Pashtuns. And all of them, or most of them, would have sympathies with Taliban. How is Pakistan supposed to check who is going over there to fight or not when there are about 25,000-30,000 people who cross every day? They go into Afghanistan and come back. How is Pakistan going to check that? So Pakistan has consistently said that if the Afghan refugees go back to Afghanistan, then hold us responsible. But if there are 3 million refugees here, how can we say few hundred or few people have gone there to fight and their bodies are coming back? How can Pakistan be responsible? There are refugee camps of 500,000 people. There are refugees with over 100,000 people. So how is Pakistan going to go into the refugee camps and decide who is pro-Taliban and who is not? So it's not possible unless. And let me just say the other thing, that until recently there was no border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. The Durand line was just imaginary. There was no physical border. So to stop, to control the outflow and inflow into Pakistan, we have built this fence at a huge cost to Pakistan. We have completed 90% of the fence now. So for the first time you have a border fence. Before that there was no border anywhere. Durand line was no border. So we are trying our best, but it is not possible to hold Pakistan responsible when you have over 3 million people, refugees here. What interest could possibly Pakistan have in a civil war in Afghanistan? What interest would Pakistan have in backing someone to take over Afghanistan? What is clear is that no one party will be able to take over Afghanistan. So if Taliban try to take over Afghanistan, it will just be an ongoing civil war. In the past, Pakistan did have an interest. In the 90s, Pakistan had an interest. And why did Pakistan have interest? Because Pakistan had this policy of strategic depth. What was strategic depth? Pakistan was always wary of Indian influence in Afghanistan, and Pakistan did not want to have a situation where it was fighting on two fronts. So Eastern Front, India, and then Afghanistan also became pro-India. So in those days, Pakistan did try to have favorites. They backed favorites. Now, and especially my government, we believe that Afghanistan can never be controlled from outside. Afghanistan has a history. Throughout history, Afghans are the most independent people. So you can't control Afghanistan from outside. So our government's policy is, whoever the people of Afghanistan choose, Pakistan will have best relationship with them. So we have no favorites now. We do not have that old policy of of the 90s of strategic depth anymore.
زه دوه لاندې پوښتنې لرم. یو تاسو ولسمشر غني سره په ازبکستان کې لیدلی وو او وروسته دغه د افغانستان او پاکستان اړیکې خرابه شوې. دغه لیدلو کې تاسو څه ویل او بل د سلسله لیخیل په اسلام آباد کې برمته شوه د هغې قضیې په اړه که معلومات ورکړئ چې دغه د چا لخوا اختطاف شوې وه برمته شوې وه ولې برمته شوې وه او د څه دلیل له مخې. ډېره مننه.
First thing is that whatever I'm telling you, I told President Ghani. I told him that Pakistan, President Ghani felt that, we should try and stop the people going across. We told them that we can have a joint, we will have a joint inspection. You tell us where people are crossing, we will take action. We assured him about that. Because we know that all the fighting people, if half of Afghanistan is with Taliban, what would they be doing in Pakistan? They talked about families of Afghans, of Taliban in Pakistan. The question is, what should Pakistan put their families in jail? What is Pakistan supposed to do with their families if they are here? And then, if there are few Taliban leaders who have families here, the only leverage we have is because of that. The reason why they actually had talks with the Americans and Pakistan was able to make them have talks with the Americans was because of this leverage. If you put them in jail or if you take action against them, that leverage goes. But more importantly, I got the impression that somehow the Afghan government feels that we should take some sort of a military action against, force whoever the Afghan or who the few pro-Taliban people or Taliban leaders are here. But so number one, we will do everything, but we will not use military force anymore in Pakistan. As I said last time, we were fighting someone else's war and we ended up 70,000 Pakistanis were killed. So there is a consensus in Pakistan that we will not use military action. Short of military action, we will try our best. How much ever pressure they want us to put on the Taliban, we will, because it is in our interest there's peace in Afghanistan. But we will not use military means. We are clear in Pakistan about that. The ambassador. So, we have detailed now through the Safe City cameras, we have charted out the exact path taken by the daughter of the ambassador. And, the taxi drivers, the taxis which the ambassador's daughter took, we got through the cameras, we got the numbers of the taxis, we called these people up, they've all been interrogated. They have, so unfortunately the explanation doesn't tally what the ambassador's daughter says and what the cameras show, where she says that she was put in a taxi and taken away and they was beaten up. But there is a picture of that taxi and she's sitting there and she's fine. And the driver was called up and the police officer. So unfortunately, we didn't get the answers because the police has now all the record, charted all the areas where she went. And it doesn't tally with what her accounts are. There's a discrepancy there. And unfortunately they went back, so we have no way of confirming what happened. But the account of the ambassador's daughter does not tally with all the cameras which show her going into the 3 different taxis. The taxi drivers were interviewed, got into the police station. It does not match there.
Sir, the Afghan government has requested for a team to visit Pakistan for sharing this investigation, and we have conveyed our request for that team to visit next week.
So you heard that there's a team coming from Afghanistan. We will give them all the information they want. We will give them the pictures from the